That's right, everybody. We still got more stuff related to the DNC to cover, but I gotta say, this one is more of a personal topic for me, okay? If you've been following me for a while, then you know that my opinion on Hasan Piker, the arguably, no, without a doubt, the largest political left-wing figure on the whole internet, has changed a lot over time. I used to like him well enough. And then eventually my opinions started to get soured over time. I used to think, you know, he was okay, but he's kind of dumb, but nothing really, like, harmful. And that kind of slowed down and ground to a complete halt when Russia invaded Ukraine, or I should say started to invade Ukraine. And Hasan did everything in his power to do apologetics for Putin and Russia and deny that the invasion was coming. Of course, insulting and lambasting anyone who agreed with the evidence that the invasion was going to happen, calling them war hawks and he always calls them perverted war tourists and stuff like that. And he gets proven wrong and deletes all those videos and renames the stream VODs so they don't say things like Russia still hasn't invaded Ukraine day 12 or whatever. And then he starts switching it up to making defenses for Ukraine. Famously, he went on a rant about how the annexation of Crimea was justified, which he had to walk back pretty hard. He's had a lot of cases like this, and over time, I've really grown to, like, actually hate Hasan. One of the things that really cemented it was when he called Dylan Burns, specifically, quote-unquote, a pervert war tourist, because Dylan Burns is pro-Ukraine and goes there as an unarmed journalist to document what's happening there. And so Hasan called Dylan Burns a pervert war tourist. Do you want to know why Hasan called him that, by the way? Like, what Dylan did to invoke that response? Dylan brought Ukrainians on to a video to talk about how they felt about Hasan's rhetoric around Russia and Ukraine. They did not like it, because they're Ukrainians. They didn't like the fact that he's in favor of the nation that is currently trying to wipe them out and bomb their cities and their homes, and is trying to kill their friends and family. And so they called him out. And in response, Hasan refuses to watch the video and just calls Dylan a pervert. As you can imagine, opinion of Hasan, it continues to shrink by the day, which is why I wasn't happy to find out he was even invited to the DNC to cover it as press. But I was very happy to find out what came from it. So, Hasan Piker was booted from the Democratic National Convention. But why? Popular political streamer Hasan Piker was kicked from the DNC this past Thursday on August 22nd, 2024. Piker had been invited to the DNC and was given his own area to stream the event in. So why was the streamer kicked? Hasan, who's known for his political commentary on Twitch, has been a long-time progressive Democrat, with passionate views on socialism and more. Long time, but not forever. Let's be clear. Back in the day, bro was making some, like... Dude, I should bring up one of those old TYT videos he was in, where it was just him talking about how to, like, basically trick women into sleeping with you. It's some weird shit. The streamer was invited to this past week's Democratic National Convention and even given a booth to stream it. During his time there, the streamer commented on various speeches given, providing his own insight and critique. He then, let's be clear, almost certainly just critique. He then was asked to leave. At the time, the only information that was released was from Piker's own mouth, meaning there had been no confirmation as to why the streamer was given the boot from the DNC. And here we've got a video from Fearbuck on Twitter, who uploaded the clip. Apparently this is Hasan getting kicked on his stream.
Of, like, literally only having Israeli victims and their family members be held into question while Palestinian and pro-Palestinian people are getting fucking beaten out, okay? Like, they're literally the delegates themselves that dare bring up the Palestinian casualties get fucking booed, they get humiliated, they get kicked aside. It is fucking ridiculous, okay? Yes, of course these people have a right to speak, and yes, of course they deserve to have their child back, okay? I am not a fucking soulless monster.
For those who don't know what he's referencing there, family of one of the children who was kidnapped during the October 8th thing, when the Hamas attacked that concert and kidnapped a bunch of people, took hostages. The parents came on stage during the DNC to speak, And not only that, but they took time from talking about their kidnapped kid to talk about the plight of the Palestinians. This is another instance of dishonest, like fake pro-Palestine activists pretending like there's no one advocating for Gaza. Like, that's what this is. It's no different than when AOC has said like 100+ times at this point that what's happening to the Palestinians is a genocide and it needs to be stopped and it needs to be acknowledged. She said this like at every opportunity on TV, in Congress, like at every turn. And yet every time AOC goes out in public, you get a crowd of people wearing the all the like the fucking like protester gear with megaphones, following behind AOC, screaming with megaphones into the back of her head, "Why won't you call it a genocide? When will you finally call it a genocide?" And I used to think these people have to all be conservatives like psyops. They have to be right-wingers that have just been paid to harass AOC and pretend they're progressive, so it can't be pinned to the right, right? Like, that's got to be what happened. But looking at Hasan and the crowd that follows him and these, like, undecided delegates, as they're called, outside, they're really just petulant children. What Hasan ends up getting kicked for, I'll get to it in a moment, but it is for the thing he's complaining about right now is what gets him kicked out.
I'm not a heartless piece of shit. Okay, there is no like boo, like I can't believe she's doing this. I can't believe the Democratic Party is doing this. But the fact that after all of the commitment that the Democratic Party has given to the Israeli government to just basically absolutely eviscerate entire Palestinian families with.
This is objectively false, by the way. Like, to be very clear, Kamala and Biden's administration has been the most hard on Israel of any administration, like, since Israel has existed. On top of that, we do have to actually support Israel militarily against Hamas. That is, like, actually a necessity on multiple levels. For one, I'm pretty sure we have agreements that have locked us in on that. Two, on a worldwide scale, this is an equal concern for if we pull out from Ukraine, by the way. If we refuse to provide military support to an ally under attack, that sends a very scary message to foreign world leaders that aren't exactly friendly with America, right? So we're talking Iran, China, Russia. We don't want these countries to think that they can attack our allies, and because of internal domestic politics, will be forced to pull back support for our allies because it's not popular enough, right? Like, we don't want them to get that message that they can just fuck around with our allies, and because war is so unpopular here, we'll be forced not to do anything about it. Like, we don't want to send that message.
With American-made bombs that they can't even fucking...
America literally can't afford to send that message.
Have a Palestinian person, an individual with family members, come and speak in this similar fashion is disgusting to me. This conversation itself better turn around into one that specifically focuses on Benjamin Netanyahu and his disruptive attitude towards the ceasefire negotiations.
I'm pretty sure Trump is, like, currently sucking Netanyahu's dick. Like, as he is saying this, yet he's complaining about the Democratic Party being the actual hard on Israel party, but they're not hard enough.
Also, I'm going to lose my fucking mind.
Oh, I guess he doesn't get kicked out on camera. Well, this is pretty much what the majority of his stream was just shitting on the Democrats, obviously. And they invited him there to speak, presumably to, like, you know, highlight, okay, you may have some problems with Democrat leadership, but, like, it's the DNC. We're less than 100, we're like, what, 60 days out from the election or something? Less than 60? It's time to lock in, right? We have to defeat Trump. Instead, Hasan goes and he interviews the quote-unquote undecided delegates. These are the people that are outside protesting the Israel-Gaza stuff and refusing to endorse or vote for Kamala, or should I say to vote against Trump, because they view the Democrats in power as responsible. Mind you, to be very, very clear, none of these people care about Palestinians. Like, clip it and ship it, please. I want this all over Twitter, me saying this. None of the people here who are unwilling to vote for Kamala, if she doesn't, like, bend the knee to what they're specifically asking for, care about the lives of Palestinians. The fact is that Donald Trump has promised to help Israel finish the job. Jared Kushner, Donald Trump's brother-in-law, or is it son-in-law, is currently like outlining plans for beachfront property to be built along the coast of what is currently Gaza. Once it's fully eviscerated, they plan to build resorts on the rubble. Jared Kushner has called it free real estate. They are, of course, real estate investors, that family, so it's in line. Yeah, like to be extremely clear, like Trump has dinner with Netanyahu at like Mar-a-Lago. You cannot say you actually care about the people who are dying while also refusing to do even the smallest thing to prevent some of them even from dying, right? Like you can go out in the street and say you're making a difference because you're protesting and you're spreading the word or whatever, but like at the end of the day, you're not willing to check a box that will objectively prevent Palestinians from dying if you check it, right? And that's the box to vote for Kamala. So Hasan went out and he interviewed these people and gave them a platform to talk about why you should not vote for the Democratic nominees, which is the exact opposite of what he was given a platform there to do. And sure enough, they booted him. During his time there, the streamer commented on various speeches given, and he was asked to leave. At the time, the only information that was released was from Hasan Piker's own mouth. Quote, "I'm back home from the DNC. Got booted from the space due to my rabble-rousing on uncommitted campaign demands," claimed Piker on Twitter. Quote, "Kamala Harris pivots to center-right on final day speech." Oh, isn't that interesting? Kamala Harris pivots to center-right on final day speech is the name of Hasan's stream. And Vosh's stream today is Kamala Harris moves right in CNN interview. Maybe my theory about him trying to appeal to the Hasan crowd is accurate. Maybe I was spot on there. Wait, what? This is what Hasan said about Kamala Harris's speech. "I care about labor, anti-war, free health care, and college for all. I want a pathway to citizenship for immigrants. I want my taxes to go towards fixing roads and schools." He is either a liar or so fucking stupid and dumb. For one, Kamala touched on every one of those issues. That was the entire speech. Outside of her just, like, talking about her background, which is part of the doing the speech as the nominee at the DNC. Not to mention, he is aware of the fact that Kamala and Biden passed the biggest infrastructure bill in the history of America, right? Like, it would be like saying, God, what's a good example? What is a good example that I could possibly think of? I don't even know. It would be like saying that you don't like Filthy Frank because he's not gross enough. Like, I don't even know. Like, it's insane. It's like they're looking... What it feels like is Hasan actually does research the achievements of these politicians and then specifically lies about what they've done and says they're doing the opposite. Like, Hasan sees, like, Biden just axed a shitload in student debt, and his response is to say, why aren't the Democrats doing anything about student debt? Student debt is such a big problem. Why is nothing being done? And to ban anyone who brings up that, like, just that day Biden had canceled, like, $2 million in student debt or something. Like, that feels like what they're doing. Like, it's like they're counter-reporting on the achievements of these politicians. Doesn't it feel that way? Like, it actually feels like a dedicated, like, attack. Yeah, it's like saying you're not going to vote for the Leopards Eating Faces party because they don't eat enough faces. It's like they're known for that. It's like, how is that? Like, if you want people to have their faces eaten by leopards, you vote for them. If you want people to get healthcare, you vote for the healthcare party. Like, what the fuck? Hasan also made various comments regarding the lack of Palestinian delegates. In fact, soon after he mentioned the situation on his stream, Piker was forced to leave the Democratic National Convention. While this is obviously up in the air as being the reason why the streamer was kicked from the DNC, many other large political commentators, including Jon Stewart, also expressed their concern for the lack of Palestinian representation on the stage. I mean, there was Palestinian representation, but yeah, Jon Stewart, Hasan, like, just the crowd of people that have consistently not been on board with getting with the program to stop Trump, you know? Like, I like Jon Stewart and all, but I think most of his coverage of Biden and Kamala has been negative, and it's just, it's frustrating, you know? Because, like, I get that you want to criticize things, and there are things to criticize, but damn, we're really in the final stretch here, and we don't get to have another election if Kamala loses, so why is there even a discussion? Why is there even a discussion about who we should vote for when we don't ever get to vote again if Kamala doesn't win? Like, what's the fucking debate about here? I don't know. Xander Hall, I remember watching Vosh attack Biden for not denouncing the Supreme Court of the United States hard enough, and when he shared his radical Supreme Court reforms, Vosh never mentioned it. Yeah, it's like, complain about something, it gets acknowledged, certainly never give it attention, maybe even counter message about that problem being solved and suggest that, like, it didn't do enough, it hasn't been done. It's so bizarre. I don't know, man. I'm just glad to see that the DNC took away the platform they gave to Hasan. I'm hoping that he's blackballed out of mainstream politics a lot more now. You know, like, I hope that from here, the only places he's able to get on TV, for example, is like Pierce Morgan from time to time to get, like, railroaded. I really don't like Hasan. I really hope he falls off and stops representing the online left. I think that his ideals, his rhetoric, his message, the type of politics he pushes for, the insincerity of it all, I think it encourages some of the worst tendencies in the left that really drag it down. It's unfortunate, too. The idea of Hasan was good, you know? Frat bro, muscular, works out, has like a, you know, a pretty decent way of presenting himself, fairly likable, and like a personality level, but also progressive. It was a very effective combination, and he could have been a real good, like, force for good. Now he's just full tanky, you know? I don't know if you guys have seen this, by the way, but, like, these soft tanky YouTubers that there was always, like, some plausible deniability have fully leaned into it lately. Hakeem just made a video called, The Tiananmen Square Massacre Never Happened. And the thumbnail is a picture of the image of, like, the person in front of the tank, and it just has big red letters saying fake over it. That's the title and thumbnail. Everyone I ever said, hey guys, I'm pretty sure this person is a tanky, and my audience was like, nah, you're jumping to conclusions. Sure ended up being a tanky. Hasan, too. Hasan as well. Anyway, bit of a shorter segment. A little bit of a drama segment, I guess you could call it, though not really. It's just mostly me making fun of someone I've very much not liked for a long time. And hopefully I made some good arguments while doing so. If you agree or you found me entertaining, consider dropping a like. Every thumbs up goes a long way to push my content in the algorithm out to more people. So whether you're watching live or after the fact, please consider it. It helps a ton. Comment down below for a similar effect as well. You can double it up even. And subscribe and ring the bell icon and turn on all notifications so YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload a new video. And excuse me. Last time it was a sneeze. This time it was a monster burp. Nice. Excuse me, chat. You know that was impressive, that dude, or the dude. You know that was impressive. Anyway, consider subscribing, ring the bell icon, and turn on all notifications so YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload a new video. And consider following my social medias linked down below and join my fan Discord. I host events in there, game events, call-in streams, watch parties. It's totally free to join, and I announce all my new uploads and streams there. So if you don't want to miss anything at all, make sure you join that. Finally, though, if you want to support me directly, financially, help me make ends meet and keep a roof over my head, then consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or supporting me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, StreamElements, Patreon, or buying merch at the Streamlabs link down below. But regardless of how you support me, even if you're just watching the stream and lurking, you know, without saying a thing, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.